We natives are not protesters. We're not activists. We are protectors. And I want that word gotten out because this is our feeling. We know people lived in this valley for 11,000 years. We've heard silly, irresponsible statements come out of Hamilton saying, oh yeah, they lived there for 11,000 years, but nobody died there. Now, that's totally irresponsible. We've all decided to sell our houses and move here because nobody dies here. You know, water courses change over the years. There's floods, there's this. Did the river create this mound, or did the flow of the water this way create that? But there's certain things that we look at to say, okay, it's in alignment with this, it's in alignment with that. You know, it has this particular characteristic or that particular formation. And we try to look at it and say, maybe. And that's all we are ever doing here, is saying maybe, until we get some responsible person, and I emphasize the word responsible, to come in here and look at these mounds in a responsible way and make a proper dig, a proper evaluation. No shovel shining shit. No 6-inch, 12-inch hole and saying there's nothing here. Christic said.
Closest to the village sites is what gets me. Like, most of them are either attached or within a short distance from an actual seasonal camp that's been used over and over for years and years, or actual village sites.
Yeah, I'm not going to make any, I can't make any interpretation.
Neither can we.
From the archaeological point, all I can do is provide the feedback from my experience.
Can you write off these three mounds in here as being 100% as far as you are concerned, and from your expertise, you don't believe them to be mounds?
I would think that they all three have reasonable geological or anthropogenic explanations for all three of them.
Okay, which says no, right?
Which I can be wrong.
In your opinion.
I can be wrong.
All right, of course you can. We can be too.
These two, that they would be, I could not see how those mounds would have survived when this valley was formed at that elevation that's down there, from a river perspective. Okay, so that leads me to the fact of they're not natural.
Okay, so that leads you to the perspective they're not natural?
They're not natural in a geological sense.
Okay, and then from a practical sense, how did they appear?
Well, they're either from one type of human disturbance or another.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that leaves it open to a very large interpretation.
The main reason for attending at City Hall today here in Hamilton is concern over burial grounds and sacred sites that will be destroyed, desecrated, removed for the purpose of the Red Hill Creek Expressway. Yes, I am an ambassador for the Wyandots of Anderden, and I am the eyes and ears of the Wendake Longhouse, which is our traditional confederacy.
So you came here today hoping to speak to Mayor Dianian. I see that you were denied admission to his office. How do you feel about that?
Rather frustrating, considering that I traveled all the way from Wendake-Geha.
I can imagine it would be. Did the people in his office give any reason why they weren't letting you in there this morning?
Their only statement is that they are only meeting with chiefs. And one thing they don't seem to realize is that we are a matriarchal society. Yes, Mayor Deanne, as you would like your ancestors to rest in peace, we request from you the same courtesy and the same respect for ours.
To say about your meeting this morning?
Well, it's not really. I came down to listen, but it just makes me sad to think that a city like this would destroy such an ecosystic place when Ontario and Canada has been saying preserve the greenery, and when you look at the devastation down there, it looks like a Second World War. And that's something I can't understand, why the people themselves in the city of Hamilton would allow the destructiveness that's going on. Under whose authority are they able to destroy the creation that the Creator provided for the beautification of people, wildlife, aquatic life? What gives them the right to destroy that and say they're doing it in a righteous way? To me, that's not the righteous way.
So how would you say that the citizenry of Hamilton could be of the greatest assistance to you and your people at this time?
Well, I think myself to stop that devastation. I mean, if they don't like the greenery here on Earth, why don't they jump on a damn rocket ship and go up to Mars? There's nothing up there. So if they don't like greenery, get off this Earth.
Rain gear, $39. Digital camera, $399. Scarf and RT spray, $13. Waterproof backpack, $59. The natural mysteries of the Red Hill Valley, priceless. Some things money can't buy.
When we first started this roundhouse and everything, it was the men that was in charge. And then they just sort of fell away, and then women had to pick up. And then, so that's why we decided it was better for the women to be in charge, because they're always here. Yeah. And so then the guys come around now because we ask them to come and do things for us.
Okay. Right up in the middle.
Yeah, let's get up and fast. You say you're going to start the construction of the longhouse today, but if the city comes in tomorrow with a bulldozer, will this longhouse be ready for tomorrow?
Yes. Well, it's going to be up as soon as possible. We have a worker here, and we're getting it together.
Here, oh, they're using it.
5 or 6 feet instead of 44,000.
Now, in longest tradition, we honor the path of the sun, what they call the Good Red Road. Okay. And you and I and all peoples live in the longest house there is. And that house goes from east to west. Okay. When we build this structure, these structures on a smaller scale were made as dwellings, knowing that in the dwelling in which we live, we honor a model of our relationship with life. In the greater clans and nations, more established ones, and many were migratory and roamed. Okay, so it was also a quick way to throw things up when you really needed it.
Right.
And when you see the construction, it's brilliant.
Is that
because there's a double wall in it, sort of like our outer face that we show the average world, and the inner part that we show to the people that we love.
Wow.
In that regard, they had cold storage through the winter in the space between the outer wall and the inner wall, where they could hang herbs or their smoked meats and fish.
Okay.
So it is meant primarily to represent a dwelling that is the model of our relationship with Earth.
Wow.
The door is normally in the east because it greets the sun as it comes up. The altar or sacred place, which in many of them is built of the earth that they actually take out of the ground to place their poles, is normally in the west,
Okay.
where the grandmothers exist, where our beings go in between our earth walks.
Okay.
All right, and that's interesting because that is exactly the same belief that came out of the Celtic religion.
Has already started. The construction of this expressway has already started. What makes you think that you can stop it at this stage?
We're not leaving? We've been here for 5 weeks going into our 6th week. The construction has stopped for a period of time, and I think they were supposed to start August the 5th. And we're still here.
But they got an injunction on Friday to go ahead with this.
Well, it doesn't apply to our people. You're in the boat, we're in the canoe. We go side by side. This is your government, this is our government. We don't interfere.
And you're,
Gonna be lean like this.
but yeah, I'm really happy. I'm glad to see all these people are out here. We're all one people now. You know, we got to start realizing we're all human beings. We're not anything else. We have to strive to be better within ourselves, within each other. Well, it goes.
There will be a new beginning when you reach the end of the road. There will be a time for renewal after you have walked it down. Soon you're gonna be moving, you are gonna leave everything behind. How can you live in a city where the people, they just live to fight? There will be no tomorrow. Those who push around and shove. How can you see the rainbow when the sky is filled with blood?
Got it.
Yesterday, Master Document passing, I know the price been paid. Can you tell me why so many people seem to be suffering? Those who live to manipulate your life, that was given. They are gonna find that the cold hearts are got turned to stone. Some of them are gonna find that they will.
Richard, Carol, and Bridget with us.
Eat an egg. turn to do?
There's gonna be a new beginning. Soon you're gonna walk along a brand new road. I say one that is leading to your
Don't want
new
it cooking in its own grease.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, you've got there you are.
Hey, you know what? I see the cat showing up.
Interesting. How do you feel about the native people, the Six Nations people being down there? And
well, anybody's
their
entitled
concerns?
to do whatever they want to do, and you know, they can. This is wonder of our land. But in the end, the democratic process has to prevail. You and I can't stop the world from doing what's being done democratically.
Why are you chained to a tree?
Well, as a senior, I feel that my democratic rights are abrogated with the construction of this highway, because I'm among those who've been advised to stay out of the valley once the construction is complete. And I consider it to be a criminal act, an assault upon the health of the citizens of Hamilton, because these trees clean the air and they cannot be replaced.
I'm the Eagle Clan and the New Credit. I'm here to support my brothers and sisters. I'm here to acknowledge and give respect and honor to our ancestors, the spirits of our ancestors who walked through these woods. Too much has been stripped on this Turtle Island without consideration to those that preceded us. Long before the chainsaws came, long before motorized vehicles came, this valley was rich. We don't put blame. We just take our responsibility as Anishinaabe and Six Nations people to be respectful, and to be kind and walk softly on this Mother Earth. We're going to sing a song. We're going to ask our ancestors to forgive us. I come here in peace, and I come here with a gentle spirit, and I hope that everyone involved has a gentle spirit. There'll be some tough hours ahead. There'll be some tough days ahead. We'll let the policymakers and the decision makers do that in a bureaucratic fashion. We'll only ask our Creator and ask our ancient ones to watch over us and protect us as we try to be respectful. I say Miigwech Yahweh to all my brothers and sisters.
We just need to know whether you're willing to leave.
Difficult. Promised my mother I would see her later in the afternoon.
Can we escort you off then?
Take 3.
We'll come back tomorrow.
How many, boys?
That's right. You have to leave today.
I have to leave right now.
Right now. Are you willing to leave?
Hey, boys. How many people do you have to take today, boys? What's the quota?
Hard to say. That's something I have to do right
now.
I can't leave with the other generals.
No, you have to leave now, sir. Are you willing to leave?
He's a kid, for Christ's sake. Peacekeeping? 17-year-old kid. I know. Oh, pick the weak one. Pick the weak one. Yeah, whatever. Just follow the orders like Nuremberg. This is what they did. You're supposed to learn from the Nuremberg trial not to follow the orders of the crown.
How would you feel if we went with all kinds of tractors and everything else and went over your loved one's graveyard? The military would be out after us. None of you are a bunch of hypocrites.
Don't touch me. Hey! Me too. Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Get off of me, you! You traitor! You traitor! You traitor!
Stop resisting.
Break my arm, will ya?
Stop resisting.
You traitor! You traitor!
Stop
Traitor!
Stop
Traitor! 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 Traitor!
All right, okay. Calm down.
Traitor!
Okay.
Traitor!
Okay, let's get going here. Come on. Bring your arm around, please.
Traitor!
Bring your arm around, please. Bring your arm around, please. Stop resisting. That's it. Bring your arm around.
Traitor!
Bring your arm around. Come on. Come on. Bring your arm around. That's it. Oh, oh. Come on.
Traitor! Traitor!
Bring your arm around, please. Put your arm behind your back. Please bring your arm
Stop
around.
resisting.
Traitor!
One more.
Stop resisting.
Get another set of cuffs in. Put 2 steps. There we go. That's okay. We got it now.
We got it.
Okay.
Over. Stand up. He's gonna run through in first. Okay, we're gonna help you up now.
Yeah, that's a big help.
Big help, fellas.
Oh, there goes. He's getting arrested. Okay, Dave Heatley got arrested just now, okay? Yep. Hey Andrew, how's it going? Yeah. There goes the pinch.
All right, Gail! Walk the walk, baby. Way to be, Donna!
Stay strong.
They don't realize what they've done.
O Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world, have mercy. O Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world, grant us peace.
And you have to do what you have to do, okay?
I will.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Once again, I'll have to tell you I'm security for the property.
I
You
understand
cannot
what
pass
you're
into
saying.
this area, okay?
Yes.
If you do, you will be arrested.
I understand what you're saying.
Let him make a step. Let him make a step over. Okay, now.
Yay!
Here.
All right.
Make sure I got some bodies down here, please.
10-4. You guys want to return to your house, please? Yep. Yes, sir.
Created the moon to mark the love. The sun knew the time to sin, and they pour out smoke. I will sing to the Lord all my life. As long as I live, I will sing praises to my God. May he be pleased.
Take us all. We want to show everybody that we don't want this to happen. Take us all. We're here. We're trespassing. Arrest us. Take them in. I don't ya. You want to plant a tree on your lawn? Yes, that's what I heard. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Are you going to let him go?
Amazing grace. Clothesman is getting out. And the door is still open. And here.
The police officers want to release me unconditionally. We have demonstrated effectively before the world of our care for this place. We have demonstrated that we are people of peace, that we simply want the peace to be extended for our children. We have demonstrated that those who've already been arrested are not marginalized people, but in fact representatives of many, many citizens of this city. The police officers here and the security guards, these gentlemen are not the problem.
No.
We simply wanted to get across that this is an issue for which Hamilton residents should take sit up and take notice, and that the politicians particularly would wake up to the fact that this is sacred place. We are destroying our children's heritage by putting through the Red Hill Expressway. Wake up!
Yeah.
Wake up! Wake up! I want to say that your presence, your support, has brought about an unexpected turn here, and that we should then return with a sense that we have done a good day's work, and that we can live to carry that further in the future. So let the police cars through. Made a difference.
This morning, protesters are trying to rally the troops and gain support for their cause by holding a pancake breakfast, and they're inviting everyone from the community to come down and join the fight and support their cause.
Well, we're having breakfast this morning, and we've invited the community to come out and have pancakes in the valley here, at the Sacred Fire.
Now that's a fry pan, as Crocodile Dundee would say.
Are we gonna feed the army here?
Don't let it get too hot or it'll buckle.
You got the cooking oil? Great, eh?
Need to buy some paper plates too.
It's a guy thing.
Say something.
Just, we want to thank you so much for bringing together the religious community to help us out. You've just been rallied to the troops and given us a new energy. Thank you, Patty. Here's the first plate of pancakes.
Thank you very much. And, you know, breaking bread together.
We were just standing talking. Someone noticed that there were people coming in around out of the bush. Then we saw 4 or 5 paddy wagons come up behind us, 2 or 3 cruisers, and then they came from this way. They surrounded us in the camp, and then they moved in with the sheriff. Sheriff read us the indictment, told us we all had to leave, and there were 3 left in around the Sacred Fire, and there were 4 or 5 people in the longhouse, and they wouldn't let us take any pictures. They just made us move. No,
Really?
they just told us to get out.
And you guys here down here are gonna pay for it. She's what keeps this place alive. You understand?
Step back. I'm sorry, you'll have to step back, folks. Please step back. Step.
The city of Hamilton, we will never forget you. We have not forgotten what has been done over 500 fucking years of disrespect. The Indian gets in the way. Get him out of the way. Hamilton, we will not forget. It's either that or go to jail.
Well, I don't know which is worse.
Get your hands off her.
Okay, you know what? You're gonna come with me.
There's somebody being.
Hey, take it easy. Because you've no rights in this town. I mean, who runs this town? The mafia? Who runs it?
Oh my God.
The site. Construction crews right now are putting up lines and securing the scene so that they can get their work done. Joining me right now live is Superintendent Ken Leanhurst to talk a little bit about the situation as it stands right now. Where are we? How many people do we have locked down? Is everyone removed from the scene?
We had 5 people that were actually locked down inside the longhouse. They had chained their arms together and chained themselves to poles. They have all been removed and they've been taken into custody. So right now there are no active protesters in the valley.
Okay, now we've heard quite a bit about this sacred fire, and you said you have given them warning to extinguish or deal with the fire, and they had not done so. So what's happening now? Are people being allowed back in?
Yes, shortly after all the protesters were left, one of the gentlemen approached and asked to burn tobacco on the sacred fire. This was Clive Garlow. He was allowed to come in with his wife. For the last hour, they've been performing ceremony at the fire and around the campsite. At that time, they also took down all the flags, the First Nations flags, and he has since left the area.
Okay, now we talk about the sacred fire quite a bit. It's a fire that we understand explains the spirit of the people who are there, and it means quite a lot to these people, and they definitely want to deal with it in their own way, which you have said they are being allowed to do.
The police are not allowing anybody down to the sacred fire now. They are going to let it burn out on its own. And that is a sacrilege to our native traditions. The fire should not be abandoned. It's being abandoned by order of the courts. Okay, we're not allowed to go down and tend to the fire any longer. So the fact that the fire is going out on its own is itself a sacrilege to our belief. The fire has been lit by the faith keepers to evoke the spirits of our ancestors, to protect the land, and it can only be put out by a special ceremony, by authorized people, and I'm not one of those people, that's for sure.
Okay, so who would be responsible for putting the fire out?
That has to come down from the Confederacy chiefs to the fire keepers and those who lit the fire. They've been alerted. The police have sent out the word that they are to come down, but it's a 4-day ceremony. Well, it's like everybody else in this day and world that we have to live in. The people have responsibilities and jobs. It's hard to get everybody all together all at once. To get them here, that seems to be the problem. Getting them here all at once at the same time. So they're not waiting for that to happen. That's what it is. They're not waiting for us to do that. So where we go from there is, well, it's just another thing we have to put in our memory. Because I'm just, in my society, my native society, I'm just an ordinary citizen. You know, it's no special import, so I only have my feelings. And that's all I have.
Listen, there's one person. The fact that you were here, the many days that you were here, and what you did was gallant.
Where is?
Remember how heavy this was when we carried it in? This summer had about 1 week. Right up in the middle.
Red Hill Creek, over out in the fall, stay in my face, back to the sound wall. So they think, so we stop them. I said we're gonna stop them. I said we're gonna stop them. Now I'm fighting civil disobediently, but most of all expediently. Gianni talks about democracy, but the land spec company is all up in his pockets. Be wage slavery for you and me. We be breathing PCP while they're pushing a Bentley. Driving Buffy, pumping lovely and living comfy. Bribing the council with company money. They say we need more roads, capital brings jobs. But more jobs attracts more people who need jobs.
More people need more schools and healthcare. Now we'll have more roads and sewers to repair. Do you care? Are you even aware? East Hamilton is choking on bad air. And that's the part of town where it's mostly blue collars. Now some blue collars wanna boo the ecologists. We might be tree huggers, Birkenstock flockers. We're also grandmothers, children of punk rockers, hip hoppers, block rockers, and mohawkers, collectively known as the showstoppers. They're gonna say that we're disturbing the peace, but we're bringing the peace to this earth-killing growth beast.
Yes, I would.
It's all about the money.
I don't know.
The money. Who'd have thought to put a highway in the valley? Ungodly. Sadly, a mistake I say, and we must stake our claim. Take back from those who fake, unconnected to the land. Our demands must be met, lest we forget where we come from. Let's get back to the essence. The message is clear, fear will shroud you, cloud you, and doubt disallow you from seeing what it's all about. It ain't about money, but having doubts about funding your family can make you act funny. Or living outlandishly to mask insecurity. You're blind, baby. Blind to the fact that your actions reverberate past your surroundings, past this lifetime. Debts outstanding must be paid. Not lining your pockets to look the other way. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And I mean when I say the truth should be conveyed. Pros and cons discussed before any concrete laid.
1 second,
Lost
Danielle.
in the physical must find the spiritual. I spit lyrical sharp dot to pierce your mental. Give back, cause I've been given so much. And hold back those who don't understand. Some things should stay untouched. It's all about the money. The money.
We must come with a good mind. When we talk to the whole, then it's shown me. And stopping shows we gotta peacefully trust with the 6 bases of unity.
Unified define where we draw the line. Time will tell if we're in the right mind. Safe to say that it is okay to pave the way to more urban decay. Carrio's way, where children play.
7 generations gonna pay for a highway.
In a valley,
Sadly,
unless we
freeze the 230, save them for the children. Renovate downtown, rejuvenate the urban. Transit-driven, community living. Alternative to this commercialized prison.
Is that?
Any mistakes?
Oh yeah,
that you
sure. We
can
can
do
edit
it
it out, whatever. Sure.
on. Okay, I'm ready to run it.
Is this for the...
Ani Bonjour, Bridget Dishnakaz Hamilton Dunjaba. My name is Bridget. I come from the Mi'kmaq Nation and I'm of the Bear Clan. This is the Red Hill Valley speech. Let us give thanks to the Creator that we are able and well to be here today in the Red Hill Valley. It is one of the most beautiful places left where we have found a great peace. We must continue to stay strong and never break that circle. We share today a very special moment by giving thanks back to the Creator for all what He has given to us. In doing so, we must continue to respect and honor Mother Earth. We must remember our ancestors and everything that they have stood for. Peace was all we ever wanted. This valley is filled with riches of native history and traditional culture. We know this land speaks for itself. It spoke on the day this longhouse was being built. Natives and non-natives worked side by side in the pouring rain, despite differences of the past. This took strength, courage, and determination. Through the eyes of the media, the world was watching for that moment to unfold when history would repeat itself. The axe didn't fall. Instead, people from all walks of life grew stronger. They were willing to put everything at risk to save this valley. And that in itself alone is a turning point in history. Today, we mark the beginning of new times where people from all races join together in this valley for a special moment. Look around and you will see there can be peaceful solutions made if everyone put their hearts and minds together. There will be peace once more where our children and grandchildren can dance around the campfires while we sit and listen to the sounds of their laughter.
We have heard the voices of our ancestors. They have spoken. The sacred fire continues to burn, and that sacred fire has led us home. Miigwech, thank you.